Welcome back, guys. It's been a minute, and we are here to usher in season four, the Little Way edition of Saints for Slackers, of Little Inspirations on the Saints for Slackers Worldwide. I am Lisa Martinez, back to co host with my brother.
Sanchez.
Woo! And it's going to be an awesome season, right, Hefe?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely is.
I'm going to introduce myself. I am a wife, writer, artist, speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of Little with Great Love, which is a restoration ministry of storytellers using media to bring hope and healing to others. So if you are new here this season, howdy. A little background on us. We both grew up in the Metro Detroit area as we're siblings. And we both now live in the South. I am in Austin, Texas. When I'm not scoping out new taco joints with my husband, I'm writing my infertility book. I could be found painting, creating, baking, dabbling in things like guitar, fly fishing, hosting folks here, or planning our next big trip, other tomfoolery. But I studied writing, mental health, and theology at Franciscan University, and I love to pour out all of that into my storytelling across all different kinds of mediums to minister to others, particularly as I serve alongside the discipleship team at Little with Great Love. And you can check out our writings, art, and swag at littlewithgreatlove.com. And now I'm going to let Jeff tell you a little bit about himself.
Hey, greetings, folks. My name is Jeff Sanchez, older brother of Lisa Martinez. Like Lisa said, I grew up in Michigan, attended also the great Franciscan University of Steubenville, majored in English Lit. And then I also met my future wife there, who promptly dragged me down to South Florida, where I've been hailing from Hollywood for the last 30 plus years. I found a great job as an English and theology teacher at a local high school here, and that's where I've been ever since. Heavily involved in campus ministry, leading retreats and our youth group. Also involved at our church here at Nativity as a lector, sacristan, and Eucharistic minister, and enjoy a good craft beer. I also do love tacos as well as pretty much most other food. I enjoy spending time outdoors when it's not summer here. But I also like taking care of my yard, spending time with my kids. I've been married we just celebrated our 31st anniversary with my wife. My kids are adults now. My oldest daughter is part of the core team, the creative team for Little with Great Love, Alyssa Sanchez. And then I have twins, a boy and a girl. And I have a dog. Her name is Ginger. I love her, but she also annoys me too.
Oh, Ginge.
Oh, Gingy.
Right. So, guys, this is a really special season dedicated to Saint Thérèse of Lisieux, which we're going to get into all in this special episode zero. This episode will be a bit longer because we're going to explain the premise of this entire season. So, don't think that all of our episodes this season are going to be of this length, but we want to make sure that you guys understand our approach and what the season's going to be all about. Because we have some new listeners, I want to give a quick backstory on the podcast. I first encourage you to go back and listen to the pre launch episode that we did back in season one, actually, it'd be called Pre Launch Invitation on February 11th, 2021. And that you can discover the inspiration behind the podcast. We tell the whole story, it's really fun. But the main thing is to remember that our desire is to inspire your pursuit of holiness through saint stories and to entertain you through short but impactful episodes. So the point is that we're storytellers. And so telling the saint stories is something that calls us on to holiness, right? Um, I think it's inspired us, right, Jeff, in our own journeys?
Yeah, actually, it's thinking back to that Lent of 2021, we've done a little over 80 episodes, I think, haven't we?
Yeah.
In 3 seasons of Saints for Slackers. But we are back now with season four, and we've got a new lineup. We got what, 13 new faces, new faith filled people podcasters to share their stories.
13, baby. It's a baker's dozen.
And make it a baker's dozen. So you've had over 50 guest podcasters over these past three, now four seasons, haven't you?
Right. Yeah, a really diverse group of people. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Yeah, like Lisa said, the basic idea is that these are supposed to be kind of short bite-sized episodes, podcasts in which basically trying to, be inspired by the saints that we can also strive for holiness and sainthood in our own lives, even in little ways. It's attainable for all of us.
So tell us a little bit about Saint Therese. What was kind of the impetus for this season here?
Well, the Holy Father actually granted this a year of jubilee, 2023, a year of jubilee for Saint Thérèse of Lisieux. I guess because it's been what 100 years since her canonization, her beatification,
Yeah.
and 150 years since she was born. So I guess both of those are pretty appropriate. The theme for this year for Saint Therese of Lisieux is for trust and love. And I believe that's the last words from her autobiography,
Yeah, story of a soul.
Story of a Soul. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and to honor her jubilee, our theme for this season of Saints for Slackers is the Little Way edition.
Booyah. Yeah. So little with great love comes directly from her words, right? Of doing little with great love, things little with great love. It's all about restoration. And the only way that we are truly restored is through love. And St. Therese said, "My vocation is love." So St. T and I have a long relationship. We go back to my days at Franciscan when I was part of Little Flowers household, which is kind of like a group of women that could be compared to maybe uh, a prayer group, a social group, but we're all striving for holiness based on the spirituality of Saint Therese. So our patronesses are for our ministry now, Saint Therese of Lisieux and Saint Teresa of Calcutta, who are two amazing emblems of God's love. So both spoke about living out and doing small things or little things with great love. Both are quoted for doing that. And they were both religious sisters, right? Living in completely different times in different parts of the world, but pouring out Christ's love in these very different but effective ways that are still impacting the world today. That's what I love about the saints.
Mm.
So, did you know this, Jeff? Saint Teresa of Calcutta took her name in honor of Saint Therese of Lisieux.
I did not know that.
Yep. And also, Saint Therese of Lisieux was named after Saint Teresa of Avila. So we got a connection going back generations here to like three generations of Teresas. And we honor all three Teresas in our writings and in our work here through our ministry.
Hmm.
It's really cool. Yeah. Saint Therese of the Child Jesus in the Holy Face, as she was known in her Carmelite order, was also called the Little Flower. Have you guys heard that maybe or seen her with a cross with flowers or roses? And she was born in Alençon, France. I hope I said that right. Sorry to the French listeners. 1873. And she felt a very early call to the religious life. And actually, in 1988, she was only 15 years old when she had to overcome a lot of obstacles to become a nun. So she had to get special permission in order to become a nun at that very young age. And she had two older sisters that were also cloistered in the Carmelite community in Lisieux, Normandy. And so she joined her sisters there. And she saw herself as the little flower of Jesus. Isn't that sweet, Jeff?
It's beautiful.
And she said, "I will spend my heaven doing good on earth. I will let fall a shower of roses." And she wanted to be this big missionary, right? She wanted to go to Vietnam and establish a new monastery and do all kinds of things. But that was not God's will for her. She actually did not leave the monastery, and she accepted that. And she offered her life for another missionary. And you can read about that in Story of a Soul or lots of other books on St. Therese. But she is the patron of missionaries, florists, the sick, and AIDS sufferers. And she died at 24 years old from tuberculosis. So this little saint, known as one of by the Pope that canonized her as one of the greatest saints of modern times, never left the monastery. Isn't that crazy, Jeff?
It's amazing, actually. I find it so ironic and so beautiful that despite that, maybe because of that, she is the patroness of missionaries.
Right? But I guess I shouldn't give too much away, huh?
No, I don't think you should give too much away. We were gonna weave Saint Therese all throughout the season, right? I'll talk about more about that in a moment. And should I tell them when episode 3 is dropping?
Yes, they better.
Episode 3 drops, boom, on October 1st. That's right, October 1st. That's Saint Therese's feast day, and it features one of our special guests sharing about Saint Therese. So wait for that, October 1st. It's actually only just a couple of weeks away from our recording of this. So October's right around the bend. We'd be remiss to mention that, I mean, the fact, did you say that she was a doctor of the church?
I did not. I was letting you introduce this special doc.
Yeah, yeah. She is a doctor of the church, which means she was a big deal, like a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal.
She's kind of a big deal. How many saints have been given the title of doctor? I think 37 total, if I'm not mistaken. And she's one of only 4 women who are doctors of the church. And I, first of all, am amazed. Like you said, she lived a very short life, only 24 years. And in that time, she has had such a dramatic impact globally upon the Catholic Church and the Catholic community. It's really quite a testimony to her and ultimately to God, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, she points all back to him. And I love this kind of spirituality of her little way, right? Which Pope John Paul II declared her a doctor because of her spirituality in her writings. And it's this spiritual approach that she took, Jeff, which is it's just like this spiritual childhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It embraces the heart of the gospel and it lives in this way of total trust, love, and reliance upon God. It, to me, it sums up how we're supposed to approach the Lord, right? At its core, the little way is about seeking to completely abandon ourselves to God's will. And this is all about doing ordinary things with extraordinary love, guys. So we think of like these lofty things, and even Therese thought of this, right? And Jeff will mention this here in a minute, but it's really about these little hidden acts of charity out of love for Christ that we do for others. And so it's quite literally doing things little with great love. Hence our ministry, right, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, even though she's a doctor of the church, she really felt the path to sainthood was really very daunting for her. She even, if I could quote her, she said, I am too small to climb the rough stairway of perfection. I searched then in the scriptures for some sign of this elevator, the object of my desires, her desire to be holy. And that's when she came up with what you call the little way, which is basically making ordinary decisions, everyday decisions, but deciding to do the right thing, to go the right way, to choose the way of love.
It's this path to holiness, that is allows sainthood to be accessible to all of us, right? And that's why they call her such a great saint, is because I think a lot of times, and we've talked about this every season, that we think we've got to do these unbelievable things for the Lord. And while many saints do, let's not discount that. Um, we can be sanctified, changing diapers, grading papers, washing dishes, if we do it out of love, right? There were many little chances that Therese took to offer sacrifices. Holding a rosary in my hand, if you guys are watching this video, you can see this. And I remember the story of a nun that would sit and next to Therese, and she'd be kind of fumbling through the beads with her fingers. And the sound drove Therese crazy. I mean, just imagine sitting in silence and hearing, the sound of the beads just being rifled through the fingers all the time, all the time. And instead of doing what I probably would have done, which kind of like reach out, sister, would you mind not doing that, please? Every day, all the time. Thank you. She learned how to love that sound. That's just an example of a small sacrifice that she made. It would just be, I'm going to offer up the way that this annoys me right now out of love for you, Jesus. I'm not going to say anything. And that's what she did all the time. That's just an example of the little way. So when we say that this embraces the heart of the gospel, this is when we go back to Matthew 18:3, when Christ said, I quote, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of God. So you think about, as kids, we go to our parents, we want them to do everything for us. We need them to do everything for us when we're helpless as a child, right? It's the same way that we approach God, is that we come to him in our vulnerability, our weakness, and humility, surrender and submit our will totally to him to help us and to make us holy. And she didn't say, change my weaknesses, God. She said, I offer them to you. And then you do it, Lord. And she would let him just carry her, right? So if heaven is the goal, then spiritual childhood is the means towards that goal, right? So we're not striving harder. I think a lot of times we think, like maybe this is what separates Christianity from some of the Eastern religions, right? Is that we don't make ourselves ascend this way, right? We submit ourselves, surrender ourselves to the Lord, and say, you help us, carry us, and allow us, give us the grace to live out our vocation and do this. So it's not striving harder, guys, to try to be holier and just muscle through it. But we just ask God to do the work in us every day. And we focus on God over self. And this is this childlike outlook that we need for every day. We're going to introduce the little way by breaking it down into 5 primary themes. And Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about the themes and how this is going to work?
Yeah, we're going to introduce these themes every 2 weeks on Sundays, and we will break them down through a new group of saints that will exemplify each theme through their lives. Also, relate it back to the little way of Saint Thérèse of Lisieux. So, here are our themes that will be coming up just to give you a little bit of a preview. Weeks 2 and 3, we're going to focus on love. Week 4 and 5, we're going to focus on humility. Week 6 and 7, the theme will be trust. Week 8 and 9, we will focus on sacrifice. And weeks 10 and 11 will be the theme of abandonment plus our finale.
Woohoo! Yeah, so our format's going to be the same. We're going to do these brief 3 to 5 minute reflections by our podcasters, whether that's our teammates or our 13 guests that are on the weekly theme. So these saints all tie into Therese and they tie into these themes. So a couple feast days that we're celebrating during the season will feature a saint or two. And then that's going to continue all through. And we're starting today on September 21st, 2023, in case you're listening to this later, as a good slacker does. And we're going to run through till November 30th with the podcast posting on our blogs and across the podcast apps on Sundays and Thursdays. So you can catch those. If you're a eager slacker, you can catch them on those days. And if you're just like a slothful slacker, just sandbag it and listen to them whenever you get a chance. So Jeff and I are going to do these videos to open and close the season. And we're going to host a live event at the end where we'll have some surprises for you. And our podcasters are our team, like I mentioned, and these other guests. And these guests are super cool, Jeff. They're people like ministry founders and or directors of ministries, Catholic life coaches, veterans, authors, small business owners. We've got a Catholic radio assistant and even an editor in chief. So it's going to be a really good season, huh?
Absolutely. And maybe I should tell them where they can find these, right?
You better
I'm going to tell them right now. So you
get
can,
to it.
I'm going to do it.
I'm saying do it now
All
already.
right, here I go. You can subscribe on Apple, Google, Spotify, and get notifications for new episodes on those platforms. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and to see posts and get extra info and behind the scenes stuff. Ain't that right?
Perhaps. Just do it. Yes, of course.
Also, be sure to check out and support our generous sponsors because they've made this season free for you to listen to. So, show some love to them by checking out our sponsors. And lastly, check out our website or my sister's website, littlewithgreatlove.com. The reflections will be featured as blogs. And for these special episodes that start and end the season, we've got bonus videos, maybe outtakes. I don't know. What do we got?
We've got good stuff that you can watch on YouTube, so subscribe.
And don't you have some like new merch coming out?
That's right. So if you go into the shop, you'll see stuff like, we got a Slacker Club shirt that you might see on Jeff right now. I've got my Slacker cap. But we've been working on new designs. So three of us, including Jeff's daughter, our sales and marketing associate Tati, and myself, have been working on designing new swag, Slacker swag for your swagger in the shop. And some of the saints that you could be looking out for this season could be people like Saint Therese, more goodness of Saint Therese. I'm actually even going to do a bundle of Saint Therese goodness that you can get at a special rate. And there's also, you'll be looking out for new swag on like saints that you love, like Saint Gertrude the Great, Saint Monica, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, Saint Clement, Saint Teresa de los Andes. If you love a little bit of Hispanic sauce, Latina there. And they are also a special design that I did with the 5 themes that Jeff talked about earlier, right? So
Yep.
there's going to be one of the designs is going to incorporate all the themes that we're doing on Saint Therese and some quotes that she has. So stay tuned for all of that. I mean, the best thing to do would be subscribe to our email list, and you can get special when we're having sales, when we're doing special things as we'll be doing throughout the season and beyond. You can stay tuned with all of that. Plus, you get 10% off your first order in the shop. You'll get a special promo code when you sign up there. So we've got designs still from seasons 1 to 3, and there's like just tons of fun gear with our little sloth mascot that everybody loves. This year he got that little floral crown that you like, huh, Jeff? Did you
Yeah.
did you like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah,
He's pretty cool.
yeah. He's like, I'm gonna show Therese. I got a little shout out to her with the
Nice.
florals. So those are all things that we do here to help support our ministry, to be able to continue this work and to bring you guys free resources like we have on the website, more media like we do this podcast, season 4. Let's see. I don't know. Season 5. I don't know. I don't know. It's up to the Holy Spirit, right, Jeff?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. But we feel really honored and blessed that we could do a special season devoted to our patroness, Saint Therese. It also, of course, gives that shout out to the other Teresas that are all named in honor of each other there. We backed it all the way back to Saint Teresa of Avila, our spicy Spanish sister. So there's so many saints, though, right, Jeff? Like that, we can't know them all, and it's hard to learn about each one of them. And that's why we did this, right? Is that it gave people a chance to just be able to, whether in your car or you're washing dishes or you're sitting down for some prayer time, you just want to run through something. We also do something fun, don't we, Jeff? What about the wannabes?
Yeah, well, we do wannabe saints where we try to lighten it up a little bit, and we come up with some saints that, yeah, we just have a little fun with it.
Right. Say
Yeah.
forget about it, right?
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, Saint Forget About It, or Saint
Yeah.
Amnesia, the patron saint of I don't know what. What's that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Good
lots
times.
more. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. Jeff and I being able to do this together. I love being able to use our faith and use our sense of humor to be able to evangelize and entertain, and being able to do it together just makes it even more fun. Even though he gets under my skin sometimes. I'm just gonna say,
Ditto.
at least I don't have to smell you because you're in Florida and I'm in Austin. Yeah,
Just wait.
yeah, smell you later. So make sure you guys join us in these months. Also know that There's a special St. Therese novena that starts tomorrow if you're listening to this on the 21st, right? So these are prayers that go all the 9 days leading up to St. Therese's feast day on October 1st. If you want to follow along through the prayer novena on our website, go to our shop. And if you go under the downloads, or if you type in St. Therese Novena, it'll pull it up. You can download it for free and follow along those prayers each day. We wanted to launch this as we approached her feast day so that we could all get ready together. And then, so we'll have episodes dropping also, of course, on her feast day and all before and after, all the way to the 30th of November. So keep up with us, and we can't wait to hear which one are your favorite saints, right, Jeff?
Yeah, yeah. Lastly, if I might add, I really just I hope and pray that if you're listening right now, that you find some inspiration in some of these episodes. And you get inspired in your life. Maybe get rid of the whole slacker moniker so that you can maybe really jump into it and take life by the horns, grow in our relationship with God, with the Lord, and really just try to be good people, live good lives, and try to emulate the little way of Saint Therese of Lisieux.
I really do encourage y'all to give your heart over to the little way. See how Therese wants to speak to you through these saints through this season. See how the little way can be something that you live out in your daily life, because it's not unreachable. It's not too hard. You can simply look to the people and things that God has placed in your own path and start right there, loving, sacrificing, being generous, whatever God's calling you to do right where you are. Therese was all about that. She worked with what she had in her particular circumstances. And she was kind of a complex girl. She was pretty sensitive and, and all these things. She was human. And I think sometimes we forget the humanness of the saints. And so it's important for us to remember that, grace builds on nature. And that's all that the little way is doing, is that in our weaknesses, in our struggles, in our everyday life, we just ask for the grace to be able to sacrifice those things that are cumbersome, that are annoying, that are difficult, that are our sufferings. And we unite those to Christ. And God uses all that for our good. And that's what's incredible about this journey to sainthood, right? Is that He's calling you exactly who you are in your set of circumstances, not to be another Therese, but to be Saint Jeff, Saint Lisa, Saint you, wherever you are listening right now. He's calling you to be a saint in your own way. And so we can look to them to emulate them, but don't lose yourself in trying to be another one of who they are, because you're called to be the saint that's just you. So thanks again for joining us for season 4. We can't wait to continue the journey, friends. So keep up with us and we'll be here for you. So you can drop us a message through our socials, through our website. You can leave a comment on the blogs. However you want to reach us, we're here for you. Right, Jeff?
That's right. God bless all of you, and let's begin the journey.
All right. Onward.
Day after day, hanging with saints for slackers. Saints for slackers.